exercises. This is really getting into each other's internal worlds and strengthening a bond that way. Second, conflict management, which teaches skills like accepting influence, staying calm in a situation, and making repair attempts when conflict arises. And then finally, shared meaning, which helps couples create rituals and goals that deepen their sense of purpose together. And in this process, the therapist acts as a coach, teaching and modeling these skills in sessions so they can be later used outside a session. And then the Gottman method is one of the most empirically supported models of couples therapy. Studies show it accurately predicts marital stability and that couples who complete therapy report lasting improvements in communication, conflict resolution, and intimacy. And research also supports its use across the lifespan from newlyweds to long-term marriages.
So one thing I learned from reading the Gottman article is that a lot of the initial research was done by John Gottman and Robert Levinson. As you mentioned, it was longitudinal research done over time. And from their research, they basically concluded that couples' interactions were consistent over time and were a good predictor of the long term course of the relationship. And that their extensive research helped them predict both stability and relationship satisfaction with relatively small samples of
Hmm.
self report and physiological data. And I found that to be very interesting, uh, how based on their research.
I agree. It goes back to what we talked about with the sound house theory, where those components really predict the success of a relationship, and then the four horsemen, which is the opposite, predicts the termination of a relationship. So yes, it is a very interesting process that they went through to for this research.
And they have so much research. The Gottmans have their own institute. They, as we mentioned and earlier, they are just kind of the go-tos of the go-to for relational therapy.
Hmm.
Okay. I'm going to be discussing the strengths of the model. One of the biggest strengths of the Gottman method is that it's grounded in research, not just theory. It focuses on skills couples can actually practice rather than abstract concepts. It is also effective in both prevention and repair, meaning it helps couples before serious problems arrive, and it supports those in distress. Excuse me. The structure makes it easy to replicate and to measure the outcomes, aligning well with social work's evidence-based practice standards. For the diversity and cultural considerations, I just wanted to bring to attention that the earlier studies of the Gottman method were focused on white heterosexual middle class couples, but the model continues to evolve. Applying it through a culturally humble lens means adapting interventions to clients' communication styles, gender gender roles, and spiritual or cultural values. Research now supports its use with LGBTQIA plus and cross-cultural couples through study, although continued study is needed to enhance inclusivity.
And yeah, I think this is a good place to like reiterate the diversity and cultural aspects of this method because a lot of research that's done, it does not generally include LGBTQ or minority populations. And so I was glad to hear that. I was glad to read that the Gottmans actually included that cultural piece in their research. And so the findings could be,
Also,
uh, they were more representative of the population.
I was going to say of our universe as we now know it, um, not just LGBTQIA plus, but interracial couples, because I thought that sometimes as I was doing some of the research that I got it. Where they originally grounded their studies on heterosexual white males, or even they had done some studies with just the same culture relationship. So I just really thought the dynamics of there's so many combinations and just including everyone. I thought that was very just special and more kind of informed, taking a just say an informed approach.
Yes.
I also feel like that's a true thing across many different methods that they historically been limited in their research to primarily white middle class heterosexual couples, and so it's nice to see the expansion of research um, and the ability to work across time and across space and culture to be adapted into to something helpful and useful
Do
for
either of
everybody.
y'all have a do either of y'all have an interest in research, like in some of the older research that's not necessarily inclusive, kind of furthering it to again apply to minority populations or other groups that it didn't otherwise apply to?